Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. Today we're looking at John chapter 1, verses 37 through 40. Now, the last few sessions together, we've been examining the ministry of John the Baptist and how his role, his calling, was to point to Jesus, to give witness to Jesus as the Messiah. The last 2 days, we've looked upon that moment where he pointed people to Jesus and said, look, he is the Lamb of God. Now, when you're giving a witness for someone, when you're pointing to someone, as John pointed to Jesus, you want people to begin to follow him, to go after Jesus, to believe in Jesus. And that is exactly what happened as a result of John's testimony. The latter half of chapter 1 talks about these first disciples of Jesus who came to him, that is, came to Jesus, as a result of the testimony of John the Baptist. Now let's look at verses 37 through 40, chapter 1. Now when the two disciples heard John say this, that is, heard him say, here's the Lamb of God, they followed Jesus. John had just pointed to Jesus and said, he's the one, he's the Lamb of God. And so they followed Jesus. They had been following John. They had been disciples of John. They had been learning from John. But he wants them now to follow Jesus because Jesus is the Messiah. So they begin to follow Jesus. Turning around, Jesus saw them. He saw that they were following him, and he asked them, what do you want? They said, Rabbi, which means teacher, where are you staying? Come, he replied, you will see. So they went. They saw where he was staying. They spent the day with him. It was about 4 p.m. So, because of John's testimony, they began to follow after Jesus. Jesus asked them, what do you want? Where are you staying? Well, to ask where he's staying is another way of saying to Jesus, we want to be with you. We want to go with you. We want to learn from you. So he says, come and see. He's invited them to fellowship with him, to be in his company. Listen, a desire to follow Jesus always exhibits itself in a desire to be with him, to be close to him, to hear his words and learn from his teaching. One of the things we always ought to examine in our own hearts is, do I want to be with Jesus? The longing of a disciple, the yearning of a disciple is wanting to be with Jesus. These two wanted to spend some time with Jesus. So notice that the first disciples that we're told about in the Gospel of John come from the following of John the Baptist, and they exhibit a longing, a desire of their heart. I just want to be with Jesus. I just want to be in the company of Jesus. So if you're going to be a disciple, and I know we all want to be, if we're going to be disciples, it all begins with that desire for Jesus. Just wanting to be with him. Now, if in your life you're lacking that, then ask God for it. If there's an absence in your heart of a longing for Jesus, then ask God to give you that longing, give you that desire. Lord, create within me, create within my heart a desire just to be with Jesus. For when the desire is there, we will follow him. And so these two disciples, they've been disciples of John the Baptist. They now begin to follow Jesus. They desire to be with him. They want to link themselves with him. They want to believe in him. And so they come and they follow Jesus. Now we're told that one of them was a fellow by the name of Andrew. Verse 40. Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, was one of the two who heard what John had said and who followed Jesus. And the first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, we have found the Messiah, that is the Christ. He brought him, that is Simon Peter, to Jesus. Jesus looked at him and said, you are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas, which being translated is Peter. So one of these two disciples who are following Jesus is Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter. Notice that's the way he's introduced. He's Simon Peter's brother. That's because for John's readers, Simon Peter will be a better known figure. They will know him better than they do Andrew. So he identifies Andrew as the brother of Peter. But Andrew was the first one to come to Jesus. And notice, he's found that Jesus is what John the Baptist said. He is the Lamb of God. He is the Messiah. And so the first thing Andrew does is go and find his brother, so he too may know. You see, when you have a heart for Jesus, when you become his disciple, you're going to want others to experience that as well. So Andrew has come to believe Jesus is the Messiah. He came to that quickly. And he wants others to know that too. So first place he goes is to his brother. Come and see. We found the Messiah. Discipleship is all about longing for Jesus and also having a desire that others long for him as well. There's more to say, and we'll continue looking at this passage in tomorrow's session. So join us next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.